Hi, my name is Stephanie Wills, and this is my presentation for EDL 850, my case study, Copyright and the Computer Regulations Governing Technology. First thing I want to go over is just the summary of the case. The case took place at St. Regis School, which is located in a rural area 25 miles from a large city. PTA, school faculty, and staff agreed to use fundraising money to purchase new software over the next 2 years. Miss Lynn, the librarian and Librarian Media Specialist and Computer Lab teacher, worked with the teachers and Mr. Sample, the school principal, to get prioritized lists of software that the teachers would like in their classrooms. Miss Lynn was approached by several teachers to use the software in their classrooms and asked Miss Lynn to copy the software programs so the software could be installed on computers in all classrooms instead of just during library time in the school library. Miss Lynn made several copies of the software despite copyright restrictions. Miss Brandon, a third grade teacher, thanked Miss Lynn because she gave the copyrighted copies to two third grade teachers, and Miss Brandon thanked her and expressed her concerns about the copyright violations. Miss Brandon brought her concerns then to Mr. Sample, the principal, explaining that she had talked to Miss Lynn about the copyright violations and was very concerned about having those in her classroom. Mr. Sample discussed the concerns with Miss Lynn about the copyright violations and explained that Miss Brandon had brought that to his attention and that was very concerning to him. Miss Lynn then explained that they needed to make the most of their resources and that the PTA president, Miss Evans, helped her make copies and was very happy with how they were stretching the PTA dollars. The next section is talking about legal or ethical issues. What kind of legal issues were involved in this case? First, there was the copyright restrictions that prohibit multiple copies without permission from the author. The next was talking about ethical issues. To me, there were several ethical issues in this case. It's stealing to make copies of those computer software without permission from the author. Second, the librarian is trying to use the copies of the computer software without letting the principal know. She made those copies. Teachers came to her. She made those copies without saying anything to him. And third, some of the teachers may know it's wrong and are going along with it anyway and know that it's a copyright violation and not saying anything. So those are all ethical issues. Next section is synthesizing the information. The librarian is trying to copy the computer software to use in several elementary classrooms, which is a violation of copyright laws and regulations. So what are the facts involved? Who are the people? Some of the people involved would be Mr. Sample, the principal, Miss Lynn, the librarian, Miss Brandon, the third grade teacher, Miss Williams, the third grade teacher, PTA, Parent Teacher Association, and Miss Evans, who is the parent or the PTA president. Where is all of this taking place? At the St. Regis School in a rural school area, in the classroom, and also in the library. This program has 420 students, grades K through 8th. It's a public school. Special education is available, 2 classes per grade level, and the copied software was taken to 2 third grade classrooms. Some of the things that we don't know. Which teachers requested the computer software for their classrooms? Were they aware that there was a copyright on that software? Are there any other materials that can be used to supplement classroom activities besides the computer software? Are there other things that they can look into that may not need, obviously, a copyright, meet those qualifications? The next section is talking about, get myself out of the way here, section 5 is the review and prioritizing the information. First thing I want to talk about here is that it may cause conflicts with the teachers and staff. The teacher, the school, the administration could face legal actions for violating copyright laws. The students could be impacted as they will not have access to the software that could promote student learning. Things that I need to know more about. I need to know more about speaking with the school attorney to see what actions the school can take or may need to take because of the copyright violation. I want to speak with Miss Lynn to see if she's spoken with the software company about making copies and if they've granted copyright permission. I also want to speak with the software company. If she hasn't done that, I would like to call them on my own to see what kind of copyright permission we need to have and what can be granted. And then once I have all this information, I think I will have enough information to move forward. Section 6 is identifying my options. First option would be to take no action and allow the copywriting to continue. Option number 2 would be allow the copywriting materials to stay in the classroom and then plan for next year by maybe looking into funds for more software. Option 3 would be destroy all of the illegal copies of the software, look into disciplinary actions if applicable, and only allow the software in the computer lab. Option 4 would be destroy all illegal copies of the software, look into disciplinary actions, discuss ways to legally buy more computer software, and educate staff on copyright laws, rights, policies, and regulations. Section 7, evaluating my options. Option number 1, no action. What are the pros of taking that option? First, the pro would be students have access to the computer software. The cons would be teachers and administration could be prosecuted for copyright violations, loss of respect for the principal, and there may be some conflicts among teachers talking about the ethical issues of using that copyrighted material. Number 2, option 2, allowing the copyright material to stay in the classroom and plan for next year by looking into more funds for software. Pros, students have access to computer software and you have a plan for next year computer software and maybe looking into some more funding. The cons of that one, teacher administration could be prosecuted for copyright violations, loss of respect for the principal, and conflict among teachers. Section 7, continuing to evaluate my options. Option number 3, destroy illegal copies of the software, look into disciplinary actions, and only allow the software in the computer lab. Pros of this one, no legal actions would be taken, students still have access to the software in the computer lab, and you're continuing to build a school culture and develop that culture that copywriting will not be allowed and that we're going to follow the rules that apply to the materials that we're using, and so we're building that culture in our school. The cons would be you will need to find other funds maybe to buy more software, and there may be some disciplinary actions that may need to be taken with those involved. Option number 4, destroy illegal copies of the software, look into disciplinary actions, discuss ways to legally buy more computer software, and educate my staff on copyright laws, rights, policies, and regulations. The pros to this option, no legal actions taken, education for staff on copyright laws, rights, policies, and regulations, possibility of more software with grants and other funding, and again, the school culture continues to develop as we talk about how we're going to be using copyright policies and really taking those things into consideration and following those rules in our school. Cons would be students may need to wait for more computer software, and disciplinary actions may need to be taken. Choose the best option. For me, the best option would be number 4, destroy illegal copies of the software, look into disciplinary actions, discuss ways to legally buy more computer software, and educate staff on copyright laws, policies, and regulations. Number 9, implementing my decision. First, I would need to destroy all the copies of the computer software that was made for the classroom. Second, communicate policies and procedures with Ms. Lynn and the teachers that requested the software. Also discuss any disciplinary actions that need to be taken. Third, I would meet with the superintendent and school board to reflect and evaluate our copyright policies and develop some yearly presentations for my staff. Next, I could work with Ms. Lynn and the PTA to see if there are some other funds and different ways that we could look into buying computer software for the classrooms to promote student success and well-being. I would like to ask Ms. Brandon to join Ms. Lynn and the PTA to brainstorm ideas for funding, as she may have some ideas from her previous school. She talked about that they did not violate those copyright laws and policies in her other school and looked into other resources, so she might be a good person to talk to. It would also be helpful to meet with all the teachers to see if there are other materials they can use in their classroom to supplement their activities that may not include computer software. What are some other ways that we can increase that education and that learning without using the software? In section 10, my reflection. This assignment was helpful in reviewing the information that I have gained about copyright materials. I think this is an issue that will be encountered frequently. It's important for me to be able to effectively communicate the laws, rights, and policies to my RCDC staff and communicate RCDC guidelines. It will be important for me to educate my staff on copyright laws and make them aware so they can build their capacity, and we can continue to develop a culture of awareness and understanding that copyright laws will be followed. Some ways that I would like to do that would be to once again talk with my executive director about putting some of those copyright information into our handbook and really talking about that with new staff. I would also like to try to do some of those things by talking about them with when we have our Tiny Case staff meetings during staff time, and really talking about copyright laws and how important it is to be following those. Thank you for listening to my presentation.